Hey, I'm Kimberly with Elixir Mentor. Jacob recently added recruitment services to help companies hire pre-vetted Elixir devs. I help with company outreach, so if you're hiring, I may be reaching out, or you can connect with us anytime at elixirmentor.com.
Secure your Elixir apps with Paraxial.io. From code analysis and bot defense to dependency checks, they've got you covered. Elixir first design with GitHub integration. Elevate your security at Paraxial.io. Testing. What's up? I'm Jacob Litzo, your Elixir Mentor, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Elixir Mentor podcast. This is where we discuss everything related to Elixir, from interviews with enthusiasts, pioneers in the community, to innovative projects and libraries shaping Elixir's future. Today, Mike Hostetler is joining us again. So welcome back. He's the creator of Jido, and we're going to be talking about a new library he created, ReqLLM, and a lot of other exciting stuff that he's been working on. So thanks for joining me again. It's good to see you.
Yes, glad to be here. Happy to jump in.
For everyone that might not know you or missed the last podcast you're on, you want to just kind of explain who you are and what you're doing?
Sure. I'm a builder based out of Chicago. I've been in Elixir really, I think about 8 years now, and was really kind of got into it quite a bit when I was working at cars.com. Have done some open source contribution since, but really kicked it into gear about a year ago now. Well, a year ago at Christmas, taking and releasing a agent framework that I've been working on called Jido, that has led to this exploration and giant adventure in AI, agentic software patterns in the Elixir world, and continue just ramping up and building pieces that I find to be useful and missing, and helping other people implement AI in Elixir as well. So glad to be here and keep contributing.
Yeah, and you have an attack dog shredding someone
I
right
do.
now.
Yeah, I can't quite see out my front window, but I'm sure the Amazon truck is here.
All right, so what is ReqLLM? Like, what was your goal there?
So as a lot of people know, I've been working on Jido. So much has changed there, and from the first release around March this year until now, I've learned a lot. I think the industry has learned a lot in how to build these agentic flows in Elixir, the difference between agents and workflows, the simplest version, which can be simply a gen server in a loop to call tools, all the way up to these really dynamic, multifaceted, hierarchical agents that can call sub-agents and do all sorts of interesting things. But the middle ground, and really kind of, again, building for it, was where I was beginning to refine Jido into and preparing for the next major release. And along the way, I had been using other libraries in the Elixir ecosystem to call LLMs, but they weren't quite, they were very kind of higher order libraries. So Instructor being one of them, structured outputs, great library, and was using it quite a bit. But I needed something a little bit more, especially as the model providers evolved and what was possible. And so you'd end up, kind of having a very, very verbose call to Anthropic with Instructor to get out what you needed. The same thing was true with LangChain. Ended up having these kind of really robust and large chunks of code to call LangChain, and you were limited by the kind of its just frame of thinking, which was very useful. But again, for what I was going for in Jido, didn't quite hit the mark. So I sat down one weekend, pulled up the code editor, began researching, hey, well, why don't I create a library that can access LLM providers in an easy way? And I'm a big fan of the Vercel TypeScript AI SDK, and the simplicity that it brings just really abstracts a lot of these differences away for the developer when you're implementing anything. Why can't I bring that into Elixir? So that the journey started, hacked up a prototype in a weekend, solved a couple of key things. So at the core, there's an API layer, and that API layer I kind of did the Elixir port of the Vercel AI SDK. And it comes down to just a couple of important key methods: generate text, stream text, generate object, embed, etc. Tool calls are supported. And then underneath the covers in TypeScript, it uses patterns, interface patterns, to call out to whatever LLM you wanted to call out to. And they had support for that. And it normalized Anthropic versus OpenAI, right?
Okay.
So hacked that together and first built that top level API. So that out of the things that the journey of this library, that was the one thing that kind of baked and went pretty well. The API hasn't changed a whole lot. It's been refined and tweaked in a few places. And then I built a set of Elixir structs to model your context, your messages, your multimodal messages, images, PDFs, that sort of thing, and to be able to send that request off. And then using some of the behavioral techniques that I learned, I implemented a provider behavior and set out to get this working for 5 providers. So I chose Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, XAI or Grok, and then, Grok, Grok through X, and then Grok, Grok through the fast inference provider. And they're 2 separate providers, and thought that would be a good sample. Oh, Open Router as well, because the Open Router's Open Router, and so.
Well, and that kind of gets you everything at that point.
That gets you everything, right? And after that, you're refining. And okay, so jumped in. How hard could this be? Well, it turned out to be quite the adventure. The first thing, if anybody goes looking, we'll get it out of the way right now. Yeah, Rec is a great library for your basic stateless HTTP calls. I tried like crazy to get it to work for streaming calls. No, I failed. That was a big learning. So the initial implementation, there was a bunch of great bug reports from the community on, streaming didn't work with Rec. Well, come to find out, and after I dug a little bit deeper, there's been some design decisions that are fully justified. I found GitHub issues. I went and spelunked the source code and figured out that Rec just doesn't provide the support for streaming LLM calls in the way that you really are need to. And others kind of commented this way in the Elixir forum or other places. And so I implemented that using Finch and started a pool of processes to manage the chunks being received from server sent events. Pulled in streaming, and then it was a adventure in working through the model nuances, because every model, even among the same providers,
I was going to ask, how different are they?
Oh my goodness. It's been a never ending battle to dial that in. And even models among the same provider, like one of my favorites is we often know that there's like a max tokens parameter you can pass. Well, certain models of a certain age and a vintage, accept that with max _ tokens. Many don't. Many of the newer models are moving to max completion tokens. And it's been this evolutionary process to get the library to work with all the different model providers, where, I would say at this point, 20 to 30% of the work was laying down the foundation. And then the vast majority of the work over the last couple of weeks has been proving and building a maintainable way to know that the models actually work.
Yeah, I'm curious, because you said the API layer hasn't really changed. What do you do though when different models support more I guess, like more inputs or just support more features than others,
Yeah.
do you just lock those back or?
Yeah. So we can back up a little bit and talk about that API layer because it's a good question. The first thing is you have to select what model you want to go for. And various libraries handle this in different ways. I opted for, again, a struct, big fan of like data-driven structs. And I chose to pull in a bunch of the metadata. OpenCode has a public GitHub library where they're constantly updating and maintaining a set of metadata that they make available via a free JSON API. So I created a mixed task, pull that all in, and that gave me a metadata base. Now there's tweaks, and that was this whole adventure in and of itself, but it was good. It's like usage cost, max tokens the model can take, where it's coming from, default API keys, that sort of thing. But then I normalized that model into a string. And that string, I call it the model spec across the code base, has special meaning. So it's a provider string with a colon followed by a model string. So you could say OpenAI : GPT-40, GPT-40 or 40, lowercase o, and that will immediately kind of direct you wherever you need to go without much else. And that was, again, kind of this developer sugar a little bit, I guess you could call it, some a shortcut to be able to reference all of these models, and was really, really helpful. The second parameter is your prompt, your default prompt, and then the third parameter is an options that takes things like temperature, max tokens, tools, and that is both kind of your options layer, and those parameters, those options get translated into whatever specifics are needed.
Okay, so that kind of helps you support models
Correct.
that might just have more features. And okay, cool.
And then there's an additional escape hatch where each provider has the ability to define custom parameters if there's no translatable ones. So again, this gets into the nuance of the giant complexity of translating the generic options to model parameters. But there is an escape hatch that you can send, and then we expose direct options, so you can pass a custom header if you want to pass a custom rec header in as well.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm impressed by the groundwork you laid in such a short period of time.
It is amazing what you can do if you get an idea and you design it correctly. And I think this really showcases. There was a great article that came out that Chris McCord talked about, and Newstack picked up, about why Elixir is the best language to code with in using these agentic tools. And it showcases, with a good plan, you can get pretty far. And I really, through just coding so much this year, found that everything data driven. So even in my agents MD, when I define the kind of struct formats across my code base, whenever I start something new, I always start with those kind of fundamental data structs using type struct. And that's been just the most helpful step, because then you put a little bit of information in your agents MD for how the data works across your package. And then that carries you through. And then you just write behaviors on top of that and translate all the data. And the functional nature of Elixir really shines there, because each of those interfaces, when you're taking a struct of one shape, editing and modifying it with a function, return a new copy of that struct, you can test that really, really well. LLMs are good at writing tests for that. And so you can quickly kind of build and scaffold up a package to do whatever you need it to do by following that approach. And it's pretty idiomatic Elixir, right? It's Elixir best practices for how good libraries are built anyways. So that was the thinking and where the initial stuff came out of.
We're going to have to do another vibe coding live stream with all your new tools, dude.
It's fun. Well, we're gonna have to do the cooking show version because so I did another, this is a quick aside on the Elixir coding thing. Rec has plugins, and this concept of plugins, that's what I used for ReqLLM. Cool pattern, really, really cool pattern. And I had it's kind of an old Elixir client API library for Fly.io. And it was built on Tesla, and it's still, I think, out on my GitHub. And I decided to see if I could re-implement the entire thing using a Rec plugin now that I understood how Rec plugins worked. And so the Fly Machines API benefits from having an OpenAI spec. So the API is very well defined. And I had already kind of solved this problem once. So I gave it the code for my original Tesla-based adapter. I said, can you do this in Rec? And built out a prompt spec, let it go, running with subagents, and it one-shotted an entire Fly.io Machines client library in about 30 minutes. Now, again, that doesn't play well on a stream.
Yeah.
We could do the before and after. And
well, we could like walk through the code base too, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty good.
So
one shot and it.
Yeah. I did publish a tweet on this, and I published the thread. The thread from AMP is public if anybody wants to read through my prompting style and how it worked. So
that's awesome.
Go back into my tweets.
I'll have to go find those and share them. Maybe I did. I don't remember. X has been my favorite platform these days.
Yeah.
It's fun.
The latest algorithm changes. The quality is improving. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting more things that I care about too, which is good. Yeah. And like people seem to be finding my tweets, which is wild.
That's good. Yeah.
Like I just tweeted like being like a solo dev is where it's at. Like, keep things simple. You don't have to have millions of users and VC money. And like, I think that's the most viral thing I've ever put on X.
Nice. That's great. It's very true.
Wild.
It's very true. I think I retweeted that one too.
Yeah. So like I woke up this morning to some people being like, well, what's wrong with having like a big user base? Like, dude, nothing. It just comes with new problems that I don't want to have to deal with.
For sure.
Like if one of my products blew up, I'm not going to say, oh no, I'm not going to scale it. Sorry. Yeah. We're cutting it off. Only 2,000 users are allowed to use my product.
You can do so much with these models now. I mean, it takes a lot of practice. I will say it's one of these things where at least the current stage that we're in, using agentic coding tools there's a gigantic learning curve. And we're at the place where you can learn it by doing. I don't think that it's settled enough to be able to be written into a book, to be able to spread the knowledge wider. So you're left.
Yeah, I feel like it would be out of date before you even get it published, Yes. That would be hard.
So
it almost needs to be like a Substack or something that's just constantly being updated.
Yeah. So
or blogs, microblog posts.
Yeah.
See, that's what we need you on, just making blog posts for Jido and all
day, every day.
Yeah.
Sharing as much as possible. There's a growing group of, I think, Elixir enthusiasts spread out across the ecosystem talking about AI, LLM assisted coding. There's a good active Slack channel in the Elixir Slack. The Elixir Discord has great stuff. I think a lot of people are working in this space. Tidewave is fantastic.
Dude, Tidewave is amazing. I'm excited. I got Jose coming back on in December, the beginning of December.
That one.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
I was a terrible UI developer. I mean, I knew live view. I could hack my way around, but I was so slow.
Dude, same. I can't get my head. I can't do Tailwind. I can't it just doesn't work in my brain, dude.
I mean, I respect it from afar.
Yes.
And Tidewave, I feel like I got the Tailwind vibes going on, right? I can just do it and say, Tidewave, do my thing.
Yep.
Just here's the
Well,
credit
and you
card. Go
can't really
spend.
you can't have nasty front end code as easy. Like, I feel like it's
Yeah,
better at
no.
not giving you crappy
Yeah.
code. Like, you're not just creating a bunch of Tailwind
Yeah.
classes and then abandoning them, you know?
Yeah. I tweeted earlier that I think we're really heading into this world where you're going to have to, as a practitioner, be able to use effectively multiple coding agents. So in my toolbox, like AMP, I'm pretty vocal about AMP being my go-to, but I use Claude Code regularly. I have sophisticated agents and commands set up in Claude Code. I use Conductor at times. And then I use Tidewave quite a bit. That's it right now. I dabble in others. I try to keep the list small so I know exactly what each tool is good at and used for. But, again, I think we're going to have to get to this place where we understand the strengths and weaknesses of each tool. And then as we're doing our work, apply that to the job, to the task.
I've kind of cornered myself. Like, I use Claude Code and Tidewave, and I feel like I probably
That's
have to be
good.
a little,
Yeah.
I probably have to be a little more open-minded though. Like, cause I don't try any of the other ones. Like, I haven't used XAI or like, I used Gemini a little bit when I was using Cursor, but now that I'm not using Cursor, I'm just like back in VS Code with Claude Code running, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I always found like Gemini was really good at like large problems.
Yes.
Like planning a major feature and breaking it down, and then I would hand it off to Claude Code.
Yeah, there was a wave there where the 1 million token context window of Gemini Pro was definitely the thing. Supposedly we're getting Gemini 3 soon. I'm not the rumor guy, but I've seen enough that I think there's an announcement coming. I hope so. That would be pretty cool. It would round out this kind of latest batch of GPT-5. GPT-5 is pretty good. I will say the launch, how they,
good.
It was like a hype, and then it was terrible, and then it's sort of middled out, and I like it. I think it's a good successor to the O3 planning, thinking. It's a little bit more conservative, a little bit more intentional. It's the way I find it. And then Claude 4.5 is like the go-to for tool calling, getting things done. And so.
Dude, I love using Claude to like investigate how things are done in a code base. Like, it does such a good job. Like, hey, can you just go through and figure out how my order state transition works? And then it lays it all out, and like, it's so nice.
Yeah. Off you go.
I can't go back. That's the problem though. When these services go down, you're like, shoot, I can't even do my job.
Yep. Your host.
Let's see. What are you? I feel like this was kind of answered. Ashraf asked, what are use cases for ReqLLM that will make it easier for Elixir apps to implement? But then Cast Sun goes, ReqLLM can replace libraries like LangChain, Instructor, and provide a better abstraction to any AI model provider. I think that's perfectly said.
Yep.
And then Ashraf asked, hey, Mike, what is the next Jido? What is the next with Jido, especially letting it work with dialogue trees?
So as my thinking has kind of gotten more refined with what Jido is doing, and you've seen me break apart that core initial Jido package into separate packages. So there's Jido action, Jido signal, and then Jido, which is the main agent package. In terms of like setting it up for dialogue trees, ReqLLM was kind of right along that work stream because I needed something that I could get down into the guts of streaming tool calling.
Explain what dialogue trees are? I don't know if I know.
Yeah. So a dialogue tree, think in a video game when you're talking to an NPC character, behind the scenes, there's a conversation dialogue or a dialogue tree that you walk down, and it's a kind of hard-coded piece of data that is usually pretty big. Dialogue trees, again, we love Zelda Breath of the Wild and the Zelda series in our house. The dialogue trees for each character, you got to imagine get pretty
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sizable. So it's a tree. You walk down that tree, but it's something that is a tool you would build to use with agents and conversational agents. Whereas a lot of the LLM interactions right now are just off the cuff, right? The human types a prompt, the agent responds, and then you build that into a conversation that is kind of linear. It doesn't have much branching. Dialogue trees are a more sophisticated version of that. Where this goes and how LLM tool calls end up marrying up with Jido, that was why I built ReqLLM. So again, you all just commented the other day to some friends. You get 4 weeks into building this thing, and you kind of reach a point where you want to trash it and start all over, given everything that you've learned.
Yeah.
One of those.
That was my story with originally learning Elixir, writing just my first REST API. I restarted it like 3 times.
Yeah. That's learning, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. And one of the decisions that I think in hindsight is I'm a big fan of nimble options. So nimble options is used in many places across Jido to guard and provide some validation for inputs. Well, nimble options is a keyword list, is your schema, and then you can validate that against a map or another keyword list. That was what it's for. It's very focused, but a little bit limited in that regard. LLM APIs typically use a JSON schema or their own custom flavor, but they're standardizing on the JSON schemas.
Okay.
JSON schemas are string-based keys, not atom-based keys. And so you begin fighting this battle of dynamically allocating atoms in Elixir, which is like that's newbie.
That's like that's lesson day one.
Yes.
I learned that and didn't even know what it meant when I learned it, but it was like ingrained in my head to not dynamically create atoms.
Yeah. So
how do you avoid that?
Yeah. Well, I was working this morning I think there's a issue in the repo now that will end up supporting both formats. But again, the original idea was inside Jido and Jido actions, I have these higher order macro based tools. So there's one called a rec action, and a rec action is simply a get request to go.
You got to be careful how you say that one.
I know. It's overloading all the terms here, but you can make an action that you write an output validator in as a nimble options schema, and you can make it so that that output validation schema is passed to the tool call or the object call, and then it just all fits together, and then these things all fold together really nicely, and there's less translation. It didn't work out so good in practice. So we'll see. Yeah, this is just refinements. I think the takeaway, and if I had any advice to, send anyone else who's jumping into this space in Elixir, is you just have to jump in and do it. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Elixir has been incredibly welcoming and open to, just giving feedback.
Sometimes you don't really learn the errors though until they're in practice, right?
Yes.
So you got to just build.
You just have to do it. You just have to build. We're in a place now where you just can't stop building. So
yeah, I agree.
But yeah.
I mean, that's what I tell everyone when they're learning. Like, don't follow along with my tutorials, sure, but build your own project and take what you learn from my videos and build your own, because you're going to run into a whole new mess of problems.
For sure.
Just
and that's how you learn yourself.
Just the repetition of like how you architect your database tables and things and relationships and things, just like you got to just do it over and over again until you
get your reps in.
Yeah, exactly.
So
got to train that brain.
Yeah.
I need to get more involved with this stuff because I feel like it's like whoosh, every time I talk to you, like that is cool. Like I understand the concept, but
there's some fun places to take it. So I did prepare, and I can start showing some code. We could go into like the live coding side and show you where things are at if anybody wants to take a look.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna run an ad real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll share your screen.
Sounds good.
Hey, I'm Kimberly with Elixir Mentor. Jacob recently added recruitment services to help companies hire pre-vetted Elixir devs. I help with company outreach, so if you're hiring, I may be reaching out, or you can connect with us anytime at elixirmentor.com.
And we're back. We got a couple questions. Can Jido connect to GenKit?
Not yet, and not likely. It's not quite what it was intended to do. I haven't looked into GenKit a whole lot, but my understanding is it's a standalone different package. If you want to test it out, just happy to chat more and work through use cases. And I'll throw this out to anybody listening. If you have a specific agentic use case in Elixir that you're working through, whether it's for your work, day job, closed product, whether it's an open source product, find me. I'm all available on all the socials. Let's chat about it. I think one, it helps learn. I can share what I've learned. You can share what you've learned and figure out if that's a use case that Jido should support. There were some suggestions, great contributions to ReqLLM even for adding extra features. And I think, when I was talking with this person on Slack, great, again, suggestion for what they were doing. Turned out, I don't think it was a good fit for ReqLLM. So we're as a community, we're going through this process of finding where the lines are rather than just adding scope to these packages. It's a real challenge to keep them trim and focused. But we're getting there. So yeah.
And Mike's a pretty nice guy. He won't bite your head off too bad, And
Andy's contribution, I appreciate it.
So. And then does Jido have a CLI?
Not yet. I'll leave it at that.
That I feel like that means there's something.
Yeah,
brewing.
There's a little foreshadowing there for sure.
Oh wow,
for sure.
All right, I'm gonna pull up your screen. Are you ready? Or there?
Yeah.
And now I just have to remember how to add my streaming links.
I'm not sharing. Let me share my screen.
And then for listeners out there, I'll just make sure Mike narrates everything. And then just so you know, Mike, our heads are both in the top right and left corners.
Got it. Sounds good. So what I've got here, I just have my terminal pulled up. And one of the things in building out, I mentioned that problem of being able to double check that ReqLLM actually works with the LLM library that maybe you're trying to get working. So there's a big, long list. And actually, before we do that, I'm going to pull up models.dev. This is, again, an open source project from the open code agent, which is also an open source project. It's an open source coding agent. And they have built a open GitHub with all of the metadata for our model. So we could look up Claude. Oh, it's not filtering. Go down here. Here's Anthropic Claude. Pull this up, and we have the provider is Anthropic. The model name is Claude 4.5, Claude Sonnet 4.5. There's a provider ID. There's a model ID. You'll see here shortly that the model spec that I use in ReqLLM is based off of that provider ID and the model ID. We can see that this model supports tool calling. It supports reasoning. It provides input formats, modalities for text and images. I lost which one we're on, but input cost is $15 per million tokens. Output is text only. Input costs, output costs, cache read costs. output limits, temperature, and again, it's metadata, unified metadata on what the model supports. So the first thing ReqLLM does is it pulls all this down and caches it into the priv folder in right in the library. And then behind the scenes, there's a process that runs a registry for all the available models. Right now, there are 689 models known and available to ReqLLM. There's been some stuff where the upstream metadata wasn't the greatest, so I had to do some overrides and how things work. And I found inconsistencies in the API itself. But I have a tool now. So there's a model sync tool, and this is in the ReqLLM code base now, which I can run. Just mix ReqLLM model sync. And that goes and fetches the JSON API. It applies a series of local patches. And then the other thing I found pretty quickly was that the models.dev database does not exclude deprecated models. So models that aren't available in the APIs anymore, those have to get kind of scrubbed out, right?
Is so that part of the 689 models then?
Yes. So
okay.
I now have this exclude file that I saved locally, but the metadata again is kind of ridiculous. And then there is and I'll type mix help ReqLLM, model compat mix task. This has been kind of the core of my testing approach of I take the model spec, which again is that string, and the string is the provider ID, which is typically kind of a lowercase name for the provider, in this case, Anthropic, followed by a colon, followed by the model ID. And that model ID, again, is the same one referenced by the models.dev database that I'm using. And then this orchestrates with a whole bunch of options and things you can do, going out and doing either fixture-based testing or live testing of models against their APIs. And now you have to have keys for this. This costs money. But that was one thing that's, again, saved me. And I have one macro-based test, which we can take a look at, that exercises the ReqLLM API that all models use. So every single model in the system that's supported uses the same API. There's variations, and some models, again, don't support reasoning. That test gets skipped based on capability data. And then you can test samples. So this was probably over half of the work in this package. And then you can run, and I have an alias to just MC because it was typing stuff out. So mixmc runs my model compat tool. Mixmc gives you a list of all the models currently supported across all of the providers. So, there was a contribution for a Cerebrus model provider. So that got contributed this week. They're a model host. So they host GPT OSS 120B. You can see, here's my Anthropic models. We currently support 10 Anthropic models, support 10 or 7 Google models. Here's all the Grok models. Here's OpenAI. OpenAI is interesting. We support embedding models as well. We put them in a different category from the text models.
What does that mean?
So embedding models are the hosted models, and currently only Google and OpenAI support this from the hosted version for the ones that we're working with. There's others that do, right? This space is huge to submit text, blobs of text, and you get back embedding vectors that you can put into a vector database and then do tests against. And I'll show you that. I'll show you the test in just a second. Then Open Router, of course. So all the Open Router tests, and then XAI. So Grok through Grok 4, Grok Code Fast. So as of right now, I'm up to supporting 112 models that I've proven. because, as a user of this stuff, I want to know this works. And
not to derail this, but
yeah.
what was the thought process like personally? Like if I was getting ReqLLM up and running, I would just focus on getting Open Router in there, right? And then kind of calling it almost done, right? Because they almost support everything you're supporting individually.
There's different use cases, and again, I think call this kind of my flaw of writing code. I like to write. There's a quality level that I have in my head of that I want to hit with this stuff. It's very difficult for me to let it go. Blessing and a curse. And I have a persistence gene in me that wants to hammer on something until it's at a level of quality that I can be proud of and stand behind. So
I think there's probably a lot of people listening that relate to that.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. You're in good company. We can commiserate on this. So to switch over to the IDE to show you how this plays out, and let's pick one. So there's also another mixed task I'll show you really quick too. And that's just a command line tool to generate text or stream text. So mix ReqLLM, and then it's gen, and then so I'm passing my prompt as a string. Hello from Elixir Mentor live stream. How are you today? Hit go, and then it automatically, there's a default model that uses GPT-4o mini. It passes that prompt in. It returns the prompt. So this is generate text. This is a synchronous call. And it responds with, hello, I'm doing well. Thank you. How about you? How's the Elixir Mentor live stream going? And then most importantly, it shows timing. So 4,800 milliseconds, 19 input tokens, 23 output tokens. And for anyone listening, tokenization is its own thing. I opted for a local estimate of tokens, nothing concrete. So it's a rough estimate. And then we use those input usage costs from the metadata to calculate the cost of that call. And I compared this against Open Router and their costs, and it gets pretty close.
Nice.
It gets even more interesting. And I'm going to do a new prompt of tell me a story, bedtime story about knights and dragons. And this time I'm going to pass it the -- stream flag, and there's your streaming.
That's cool.
Right.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here waiting right now too, right?
That's right. And it would wait until the entire kind of prompt is finished until it, brings back the code. There's your 21 seconds, 16 input tokens, 930 output tokens, and it cost us, 5/10,000th of a cent.
For a whole bedtime story. Pretty worth it.
For a whole bedtime. All right. Admittedly, I was kind of scared to call the models too much. I was talking about how expensive the testing has been. I probably haven't spent more than $30-$40 in all the LLM testing for this.
Oh, wow. I was going to just ask what your monthly budget's turning into with this.
Yeah. It's we're not going to talk about the whole budget, but this project. Yeah.
Your wife might listen. She can't hear.
Yeah. Time out on that one. We're stopping the stream right there.
Pause. We just hear your office door get banged open.
ReqLLM Gen to show the help text. There's a bunch of things that can be passed in. Supported providers. It does support JSON text object outputs, and you can pass the system prompt. You can select a different model. So if we wanted to, let's do mix MC to figure out what model we want. If I wanted to use
Chaz said AI open source contribution contributions are no longer free labor. They cost you dearly.
Yeah. So let's do a model of, now here's the provider string, and notice I'm adding a -m flag for model
Okay.
of Anthropic Claude 3.5 haiku. Hit enter, and this will do the same thing, and it's streaming a same prompt,
but through Claude now.
But now it's through Claude, and that's really the power of this ReqLLM library.
Oh, it costs more.
It did cost more. GPT-4o mini is an inexpensive model. That's why it's the default.
Yeah.
We could try. Let's go up and do Claude 4.5 and see how expensive that is for the story. Right, because that's what, $15 for output tokens.
We need to add a donation button on this stream for
people
to donate to you.
Taking donations. The Night and the Sleepy Dragon this time. So it's streaming the output, and we'll see how far it goes. Oh, it added a moon emoji. Sweet dreams.
Ooh, and it
didn't do many. Yeah, that's pretty good, right?
It did up the price though, like 5x almost.
Yeah, these aren't the good ones. Aren't cheap.
The good ones Chaz asked. Ashraf asked, it would be cool to have ReqLLM work with local RAG or even dialogue tree just in case for some domains you cannot use LLM.
So
can you explain that a little? I don't know if I grasped that one.
Yeah, and this gets into like one, there's a lot of tools when it comes to this AI stuff on Elixir, and Python has great tools. In the Elixir world, we don't have as many, but we're catching up. Mm-hmm. And if anyone is in the Python world, they know Light LLM. Light LLM is that standard to be able to call any of the model providers. That turned into an inspiration for ReqLLM, building an LLM, a provider agnostic LLM layer in Elixir. So we could have, like, we're in Elixir, we can have nice things too.
Heck yeah.
So in terms of what Ashraf's question of, local RAG or even dialogue tree, local RAG as a provider, maybe, again, but the point of, you could call a local LLM model. That's the purpose of ReqLLM, but actually calling a RAG database, not the purpose of ReqLLM. That should be another package, and it can be agnostic. It doesn't have to be in the Jido ecosystem. I just saw a release for, I'm skipping the name of it, but it's a hosted RAG, really fast RAG system that Cursor uses for an Elixir client for that, right? But that would be outside. And the idea was that you as a developer would use ReqLLM to build the tools you needed to build. And even the dialogue tree would be kind of a higher order package to this. And
yeah, that makes sense.
Crystallized in my mind is that you have a lot of great packages in Elixir that handle what I call like kind of lower level machine learning, lower level AI stuff. NX, Axon, right? There's a data frame library or package. That's great. I think Elixir needs that, but we're in this world where the higher order packages, the ability to build a chat system, that's the use case. That's what a lot of people want to build. The ability to query an LLM and to be able to do it concisely, that's what we're showcasing here. And to get into it a little bit further, and I'll pull up the code now, and I apologize because, there was my keys. Crap. I have to go switch all those keys out.
Shoot.
Oh, well, that's my fault.
I've done that before.
Yeah. We had to bring it back, right? We had to bring it back.
Yeah.
Go into our...
Don't look at that. As you're going through stuff, Chaz has what are the key differences between ReqLLM, Instructor, and LangChain? Where does ReqLLM shine over the other two?
Yeah, and it'll actually answer that question a little bit through this code example. So I'm pulling up now the macro-based test suite that I use to have one test, or it's actually 9 tests. 9 tests that I run every model against. So again, just to conceptualize this for you, what I wanted to do with the testing harness is to prove that every model that ReqLLM can promise it supports passes this test suite. And it's agnostic. The test suite's written to be as agnostic as possible from model providers. There's some nuances that I'm still working through, that's not entirely the case, but this is also the 80% case. So ReqLLM's goal is to be the easy option to get started with. If you need advanced model capabilities, ReqLLM can get you most of the way there, but may not get you all the way there. And that's by design. We're not trying to like solve every corner case. There's way too many, but we can solve a lot. So here's the test case. I have my options, and this is a reasoning overlay for generate text that's based on the model spec. We can ignore that for right now, but it's one line. ReqLLM generate text. Just a little bit bigger. That's the call. ReqLLM generate text. Pass in the model spec. That model spec is the string of provider : model name. Pass in the prompt, hello world, and then our options. So this, in this case, my fixture system had to be custom built because of streaming and some different things. And I wanted to, that's the name of the fixture. So we're going to go look at the actual code for the fixture right now for one of our models. So let's go take a look at Anthropic, Haiku, basic JSON. So here's the request and response that gets sent back and forth to Anthropic. First, the request. So this body, there's your body base 64 code. I did do an expander on that so you can see the canonical JSON. So I'm sending max tokens 50. Here's our messages array of JSON objects of content, hello world. Role is user. Which model? Claude Haiku. That is, again, based on this model. Streaming, false. Temperature, 0. That's the request. And then here's the headers. Accept encoding. Anthropic uses headers to change the behavior of their API.
Interesting.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And then there's our API key, which gets redacted and scoped out, posted to this endpoint. That's the request that gets sent to the LLM. And then here's the response. Here, the body contains content. So there's your, again, response that comes back from the LLM. Hi there, how are you doing today? Is there anything I can help you with? Type is text. Here's the ID, the message ID of the response. Claude 535 Haiku. The role is assistant. Stop reason is intern. Stop sequence is null. Those are all options that can be passed. Type is message. And then here's your usage metadata. So ephemeral 1-hour input tokens. We're not doing any cache, prompt caching yet. But you can see there's where the input tokens and output tokens comes from. And we're operating on the standard tier. Anthropic organization ID, your rate limits, and all the headers that came back in the response. They obviously use Cloudflare, status 200. So that's how we test that it actually worked. And this is the basic case. But this is where all that work has gone of, throwing in and that's the one call. So you ask how it's different than LangChain. In LangChain or even Instructor, this can all fit on one line. How many characters is this? It's hiding on my screen. 134 characters to make an LLM call right out of the box for ReqLLM. This would be 20, 30 lines of code in LangChain or Instructor. That's the difference.
Wow.
And ReqLLM will support more providers.
Nice.
Scrolling down, here's our streaming. So the streaming was interesting because the streaming, actually, I capture the raw SSE server send event chunks. And you can see here's message start, event, content block delta, pings. If you've never studied SSE, this is interesting. You can see what we sent. Say hello in one short imaginative sentence by the user, Claude 3.5 haiku. And this has a system prompt. You're a helpful creative assistant. And then you can see, you see what it sent back. And it is the streaming output of, here's part of the text response, text delta, hello, and these build on one another. And so the test fixtures ingest that, and then they can double check that this works. So based on these fixtures, now I can go back and I can say, where's our, instead of generate MC, and now I'm going to use this mix task in my terminal to verify that Claude 3.5 haiku works against the code. I can do that. And of course it failed so let's record a new one, add the -- record. I'm doing some testing for object-based extraction with this branch. Oh, you see behind the scenes.
I just updated, yeah.
Yeah. And it passed. So yeah, this one works.
Okay.
For object basic, and let's see what came out. So here's the new one of generating, and this is tool calling now. So Claude 3.5 haiku, generate a software engineer profile, tool choices, structured output. So Anthropic doesn't natively have a mode to do JSON extraction. They use tools. OpenAI and XAI do, working on supporting those, but the tool call is generate structured output, additional properties false. Here's the schema, required name and age, type of object, name structured output, and there's the output right there. So that's pretty cool.
That's really
that
cool.
In real time.
Yeah.
So, and again, one line to do that. Let's go find that test.
I've never really seen testing done this way, and it's really cool to see it in action.
There's my usage metrics. Tool calling. So here's one, tool calling. I have a capability system where the ReqLLM maintains data on what each model is capable of. If it's capable of tool calling, some are not, I don't run the test.
Okay.
But most should be available to do. Here's my object stuff. You can see the change. So this is the design choice that I'm now regretting a little bit of, but this is a nimble options schema. So it's a keyword list.
Okay.
To say, this is what I want to have come back. That there's your name, age, and occupation. It honors the required true flags. You see occupation is not required that we saw in our JSON fixture. Adds reasoning if needed, max tokens. And then in order to call the generate object method, it's just another parameter of the schema that you want. And so this will be heavily integrated into Jido to be able to do structured outputs for Jido tool calls very, very efficiently.
Okay, nice.
So, and then we assert that we got the right object in response. So
that the issue that you were talking about is the dynamically creating atoms in that response for the list, the options list.
Yeah,
the symbol
there's
list.
some dragons in here.
Yeah.
There's some dragons. But we're working through them. There, after a lot of people have already contributed to ReqLLM, I think after 3 weeks launching, we're up to over almost 150 stars. Please go star the repo.
That's amazing, dude. That's awesome. You must be popular or something.
Working hard. I'm working hard. Let me find the repo itself. I don't even know. I don't follow that stuff too much. Again, if you want to get something to work, or you have a use case that you're trying to get to work, please, 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 I could use the help to, just figure that out. And I have to go rotate all my keys, but those I'm signing up for as many providers as I can. There's an Amazon Bedrock provider coming. We just landed Cerebras. We're going to work on local LLMs here shortly. I do have LM Studio installed, ready to do that. So it's fun, and it's a cool. It's been a cool project. So
yeah, that's awesome. This guy, he's doing things I don't understand.
Hopefully it's useful, right? That's kind of the goal at the end of the day. So,
there is one little teaser that I think we should talk about that you and I talked about with my channel.
Go for it.
So Mike and I were talking, and he's going to be putting together some like Jido and AI tutorials and publishing them on Elixir Mentor in the near future. We don't have a timeline mapped out yet, but
within the next few weeks,
it's going to be exciting.
I'm old. I don't know how to stream that well. You've been teaching me how to stream and do all the things online. I appreciate the opportunity and showing me this stuff. So I'm going to try my hand at recording some content again, doing trainings on ReqLLM will definitely be the start, but we'll be doing some on the Jido ecosystem, and we'll get them published out on Elixir Mentor. So
yeah, I'm stoked. And it just gives me more content without long sleepless nights of recording my own shit.
You deserve it. I think it's good stuff. That's the Elixir community, right? I think we're helping one another, just trying to build the momentum and keep improving things. So,
yeah, I love it. It's just a matter of figuring out use cases. We got some questions rolling in. Let's see if I'm missing any.
Do you want me to turn off screen sharing? I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I can turn it off.
Okay.
Back to just us. All right, it's just a matter of figuring out. Oh, could you touch on, is it just Llama? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay. And its impact could be lower end CPUs. Ash AI. Oh, aren't Ash AI ReqLLM integration would be sick? I feel like you've talked about Ash in the past.
Yeah, so there is a open thread to integrate ReqLLM into Ash AI. There's some stuff that's still needed before that will happen, or if anybody, I don't know if it's not necessary at all. I think we can see what the community would say, and it's not my project. So if they want to pull it in, great, we'll support it. If not, that's fine too. If anybody wants help to integrate it into their project, hit me up, let me know. That's sort of the beauty of open source. I think my perspective is just, again, it goes back to that thing of I've finally gotten over putting out something that I'm not happy with, because I think it's more important to ship early and get feedback. But I also won't stop until I'm happy with it, if that makes sense.
So right? He's never going to stop. That's what I just heard.
That's pretty much. So, yeah, it's never ending.
Your code's always going to have a dragon in it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're never going to be happy. So work continues.
It just doesn't stop.
You're a slave to your code bases.
So it's a lot of fun.
Chaz said, yes, his army of agents will be continuously working until he's happy.
That's going to happen. I'm going to end up having to spawn more agents to help me keep track of all this stuff. So
Andre asked, what's the best platform to reach out to you on?
I'm on X. I'm on the Elixir Slack. I'm on the Elixir Discord. I'm in the Ash Discord. I'm on Elixir Forum, and then I'm on Elixir Reddit. So all the places.
Whoa. You forgot the most important Discord, though.
Well, the Elixir Mentor Discord too, right?
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah, definitely active there too. So wherever you can find me, the handle is always Mike Hostetler, and using my real face again. So you should be able to.
Did you used to do Mysterious Hacker?
Like there was a time where it was cool to be anonymous, but
yeah,
I've been on the internet way too long to have dreams of being anonymous anymore.
You just realize how difficult it is to stay anonymous. So
oh my goodness!
You might as well
it's
just
like a part-time
be out there.
job. Yeah, part-time job, no fun.
I gave up. Everyone knows me. That's why. Yeah, I'm just Jacob Blitzo on everything.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, they can find me. I do have fun. I'm in a Google search rank battle for my name, and I'm up against minor league baseball player. So whooped him a long time ago. A lawyer. Yeah, a lawyer from Baker Hostetler, because apparently there's like a big law firm. But because I'm an individual, I beat out the law firm. But then there was like a guy in Indiana who was on the nightly news. He was a weather guy or weather sports guy, not the main guy. Well, about 2 years ago, they did an SEO campaign on his name where we've been locked in this battle. But he just retired, so I think I'm going to get back on top here soon.
Nice.
So you can find me if you Google me as well.
I think you can find me if you Google me too. There are other Jacob Blitzos, surprisingly. There's like 3 other Jacob Blitzos in this world, which you would think is not that common, but it's common.
Well, yeah. So cool. What else we want to talk about?
I think there's a lot. Let's talk about Jido and your dashboard that you're putting together.
Yeah. So, if I have a roadmap I've been working towards with Jido, ReqLLM has been this side quest to get some of the LLM stuff sorted out. But I'm kind of at this point where I've been working on library code in not entirely made up use cases, but not really grounded either for a long time. Just based on my experience running bots and building code and doing it in open source. And I'm at a point where I want to kind of build something real and give it to the community. So I started a new project that will be released with Jido 1.5 that will be a Phoenix app that will allow people to run their own Jido agents and have a UI for it, chat with those agents, and do some cool things there. So it'll be rough, but hoping that will help kind of conceptualize agents a little bit better for people, show them what's possible. It'll use some of the techniques that I've thought through and built out and organizing and running these agents. And I think that's what's coming next. The other thing with Jido, the Jido release is, so ReqLLM and Jido AI are being worked on right now. Jido Action and Jido Signal are done and ready for release. ReqLLM is going to force a lot of refactors in Jido AI, the work there has been started through some community contributions. But then Jido itself, the one feature that I want to get in before I ship and put a stamp on 1.5 or the next release is the ability to easily do sub agents. Because I just have this dream of a demo of, setting up a tree of like 1,000 sub agents. Because is that very practical right now? Absolutely not. But because this is open source, we don't have to be practical. I think that's where the world is going, and I think that will showcase that Elixir really is a contender for these really complicated agent workflows. And I would say that's the goal, more than just doing something practical at this point. With that being out there, hopefully it will become obvious that there's Jido and the agents will be able to kind of do these workloads. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing too. I do have a vanilla gen server agent that I shipped with ReqLLM too. There's a bunch of examples for how to use it, but you can go in and do a tool calling agent demo using just ReqLLM inside the lib folder if you want to take a look at the source. Again, I think there's been a good conversation around, well, in Elixir, an agent can be just a gen server. Yeah, absolutely. That gets you so far. It's a building block. Jido builds on top of that and is focused on kind of a higher complexity use case, which I think the world is getting to quickly. But it's important to see the steps for how to get there, and that ReqLLM can be built and do that as well. So if anybody's looking for the gen server agent example or an implemented gen server agent, take a look at ReqLLM. There's an example in there that I coded up that works with ReqLLM.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
The swarm.
Yes. It's always more. So,
let's see. I'd love to see Mike's agentic coding workflow. He seems to be very productive. Yes, he is very productive. That should be a video. Your workflow.
That should be a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be my first example. Elixir Mentor Screen Studio video is my Elixir agentic workflow. I'm going to write that down. That's a short one. I could do that. Got to get, dust off, try something new.
Good call, Chaz Watkins. Thank you, man. I love that. I have a hard time, watching content of anyone's, but I will watch that content.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Dude, I'm excited to get videos of yours rolling. That'll be cool. Game changing.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
We're going to get a bunch of more AI nerds in the Elixir community.
Yeah, we are. Get us all together and just chat more. I think we all learn from each other quite a bit, which is nice.
Yeah, no, I like that. Well, that's my favorite part of this podcast. It's just, I get to learn the whole time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
now we can just shift into peptides. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Follow me on X. We'll chat about those quite a bit too, if anybody's into that. You got to stay strong, right? I mean, you got to mentally strong, physically strong to keep all this going.
It's true. So, sitting all day. I weirdly tweaked my back. I weirdly tweaked my back this week, right? Working out, and sitting is worse than working out and standing.
Oh yeah.
Just sure. I don't know. So being in this position kind of sucks, but all my lighting and stuff is set up for the seated position. But once I start working, I can put my desk in standing mode and I'm good to go.
Off you go.
Yeah.
I have one of those. My desk is on wheels. It can stand up and down. So my office, everything's kind of pushed to the side, and then I can move it around based on what I'm doing, or sit up, stand.
Yeah, that's nice.
I do have a treadmill, but I personally hate the bobbing.
Yeah, I can't do that either. You know what I do love though? I have a balance board. I don't know if you've ever seen those.
No.
So here, I'll just grab it and show it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a curve to it, right? So when I'm standing, I feel like I have to fidget and it's hard to focus. But when you're on a balance board, you can just rock back and forth.
Oh, that's really cool.
And so it takes away your fidgeting and you can focus again. But your feet are just rocking and doing the fidgeting thing, but you stand still and can work. It's amazing. It's probably a $20 item on Amazon. I feel
I'm going to look into that. And is that a ball for a stress ball, or it's
this is just you can rub your foot on it and it's a hard ball to massage your feet. I don't use it, but standing on this is amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When are we going to start the Elixir Fitness podcast?
Oh, there we go. Just go lift things that are heavy and
that's right.
Talk so much shit that you can't back up, but it improves your friends to be stronger, better athletes,
For sure. That would be a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Open CV unless 25 squats. Do not unlock my screen. There we go.
Yeah.
I was just like talking, I had this random idea, and I have to accept the fact that I probably won't be able to build it. But I was thinking about like security systems, and like, I have a buddy that has like a ton of property. He has goats and livestock and everything. And he had like a cougar take one of his goats. And
Oh no.
I know. And he's like, I think it's a cougar, but like it's just missing. Like the goat's gone. So he assumes it's a cougar, right? But he like game cameras don't work for him because like if you trigger on motion, the livestock's constantly setting it off.
Right.
And I was actually one of my other buddies is involved in like security. They make like these solar boxes with cameras on it, and like it monitors people like coming up to like a work site or construction site.
Okay.
They're like really cool. But AI, like security, is one of the last things that AI is being implemented in. And it's the best use case because you could use AI to like, know threat level. Like you would know if is this a herd of goats or is this like a cat coming to kill my goats? And so you wouldn't kill your battery on your cameras if you only reported like necessary threats.
That's
right?
pretty cool.
Yeah.
The real time. I mean, that would be pretty awesome to get that working. I'm sure you get a vision model to detect goat versus cougar.
So then like, so I was talking to my buddy and he was saying like what Border Patrol uses, they like use LiDAR and all these things, but they're just looking for motion, right?
Right.
But like I was thinking about like mesh Wi-Fi systems because they're like starting to do 3D mapping of buildings through walls and stuff with Wi-Fi. You map your whole property in Wi-Fi, and then you can use an LLM to look for movement and threats and then send drones to record it.
That sounds like an ambitious project.
I know, but I like that's such a good idea.
It's pretty cool to see it work.
Imagine just like swarming a threat with like 2 or 3 drones and like you would get perfect video shot of the face or whatever because you can move the camera.
I've seen those. There's like a history show where a guy took a drone that had LiDAR attached and he mapped these old catacombs.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of that stuff. That's cool too.
That was pretty cool tech. That's just not my background at all. I never did any hardware stuff. I
mean, I didn't do hardware like that.
Yeah.
But it's cool. So like if anyone listening does like autonomous drone stuff, like programming and any of that, like reach out to me because I think it would be a fun project. I would be able to be talked into starting this project.
Is there a nerves extension? I mean, I think you could.
I was thinking like build drones with nerves would be really cool. Yeah. That would be really cool.
Drones. Do you have to still be a pilot to do drone stuff?
So it depends on the size of the drone and where you're flying it. But if you're like under 400 feet on your private property, you could have autonomous drones, I think, anywhere.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It just gets a little hairy in public spaces because then you have to worry about crashing into people and liability and things like that. Yeah, Chaz, drones with a speaker so you can hurl insults at them. Exactly.
There you go. Scare those cats off from your goats.
Daniel said he could, but he has a strict NDA. What, you could do autonomous drone stuff? Is that what you're saying? NDAs are stupid.
Yeah.
I hate NDAs. Yeah, the Part 107 cert. Yeah. Like it just depends on where you're located and how close you are to airports and all of that stuff. But
yeah.
I think for the most part, it would be pretty doable. Oh, we got Daniel Bergholtz in the house.
Hey,
what's
Daniel.
up, man? And I said, Daniel, that was Lullaby, Daniel. It's kind of crazy. We have 3 Twitch viewers right now. Twitch is not
nice.
a high traffic platform for me.
I'm not on all the chats. I got to go and get caught up on all your Any more questions from the audience?
It would be wild to build a Jido agent UI where you could dynamically create new agents with props, assign tools to them, etc.
Who asked that? That is
Chaz.
coming. Yeah, that is the whole plan. So one of the big things that's been there for a while, but wasn't emphasized as much with Jido 1.5 is the ability to add skills. I was starting to build agents that they were getting so many tools, and there's debate about how many tools to add. This is not necessarily LLM tools, which fill your context up. This is just capabilities of the agent itself and organizing them and you know, the way that think of a tool as a function the agent can call. That's the action, that's the tool. Or organizing them into skills proved to be a lot more helpful and user-friendly as I was building out agents and delegating to agents that are reusable. And so skills themselves will be kind of a first-class citizen in Jido 1.5, and you'll build skills rather than tools, as many tools. So
I got to update my category on Twitch. Apparently I have it science and technology. Let's see what it is. We'll make it programming. I rarely go on Twitch. Oh, now I hear myself talking because it automatically started streaming. Yeah, I don't know how to do this. I'll figure it out later. Look at that, the live chat. Oh wow, even YouTube comments. Oh no, they don't. Twitch is kind of cool. Is Twitch profitable yet, or are they still just burning Amazon money?
I thought they're owned by Amazon, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Was my comment visible about unified chat? Maybe. How long ago did you say it? I don't know. I can't find it, but
more things to learn.
Retype it, lullaby, and then I'll read it because I didn't see it. Was my comment visible? I don't think so. I don't think it's software and game development. Ah, okay. I'll update to that. Cool. Well, Mike, should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up. Good to hang out with you again, my friend.
Yeah, man, this is fun.
Appreciate
I think we should do a coding session again. I think those are a lot of fun.
Yeah, those would be great. We'll do some. Yeah, we could do a lot. I mean, where do you want to go? There's a lot of places we could go.
We'll
do the agent. We'll do the agent coding setup first. Showcase that.
Yeah.
And again, people know I'm a big fan of AMP Code. I was on their build crew, so I'll make a plug for AMP build crew. You get $100 in AMP tokens for free and usage tokens. This is not LLM tokens. Join their Discord, and we're talking about using Elixir with AMP, and that's what I'll do the video on. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you send me the link to put so I can put it in the description?
I will.
Okay,
I'll put it in the show notes.
Awesome. So, we do have a couple questions now. So how about unified live view chat interface on top of all your amazing work?
It's coming.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And then do you see a need for having some kind of workflow system to connect the different Jido agents to connect the dots? Let us say one agent received input from the API, then it passes some action to like a log agent, etc.
This is the idea behind the next project, is to pull all that together. And I'll give you a few teasers. So Jido itself, I think, having worked on it for a year now, I have a stronger opinions than I did when I started around where it actually fits. That was always the question, right? Well, we're going to give agents access to our database and raw data? No. Like, why would you ever do that? And yet, the dangerous things we do with agents now, it's not bad, but we're all learning, right? In the Elixir ecosystem, I think we really need the the template, right? So step one, Phoenix, that's the foundation. That's the web endpoint that will have HTTP APIs for Jido agents and, of course, Phoenix channels. You need to be able to access a Jido agent over Phoenix channels. The layer underneath where data is declared declaratively and all that stuff, is Ash. I think Ash is the great fit there to be able to have Jido agents live on top of the Ash framework, because Ash does such a good job managing and declaring and writing out the code for your domains, your resources, your policies, and all the different things that go along with that. And they provide this really structured, reliable foundation for the agents to push against and make sure that the integrity of your application stands the test of time. And then agents are this like new category of things in the middle that live underneath your HTTP API. They live alongside your Phoenix context. They live above your Ash domains, somewhere in there. And then they present all of that available to your live view, UI stuff. So what does an example of that look like? That's where I'm thinking next and where I think a lot of this stuff is going. And we'll look forward to a lot of people contributing to, and we'll figure out the next set of patterns. So
sweet, man. I'm excited. It's been cool watching this develop, and I feel like you've really hit the gas pedal in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
so
it's been good.
It's cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for everyone that tuned in, and thank you, Mike, for joining me. It's always great to have you on. And we'll see you guys on the next stream. See you guys.
See you on the next one.
Testing.